Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We just witnessed game 1 between Sin as well as the Chiefs, and it was back and forth, but Chiefs picked up that game 1 victory. If Sin want to win this one, they're probably going to try and take it to game 5 again, Spawn. Every single gauntlet they do it,
I
but
don't know
Chiefs
about that. I
looking
think
really strong.
Sin would be looking at 3-1 now. You drop the first game, all right, we'll get them at 3-1. If they drop the next game, all right, we'll get them at 3-2. Then you drop the next game, you've been 3-0. So a little bit unfortunate. I think that Sin would legitimately think if we have 3 more early games like that, this should be a 3-1.
So it's going to be same sides here. Sin, blue, Chiefs, red. What is the change, though? Do we see the Janna or Tristana taken off the board?
Yeah, that would be interesting, right? I think that the reason Thresh will be so contested and taken away from the Chiefs, by the Chiefs so much, is we saw how little vision they had Fish.
Yep.
And if you have Thresh on the opposing team and that little vision as the Chiefs, you will die over and over again. Kennen isn't quite as bad in that regard, so I think that the Chiefs would be very happy that they went for a team fighting bottom lane, when pick seemed to be what the Chiefs were really worried about.
Still the same bans from both teams?
I mean, as I said, the big thing for me is that Chiefs got the team fights, so they won. You could look at that game and be like, oh, what is Sin doing? Like, they were up 4,000 gold, guys. Let's all relax a little bit. Like, let's just take a deep breath. They still got up in the early game. Sure, they made a pretty horrendous team fight around Baron, but I think that if they had layered their ultis a little bit better onto priority targets, they probably would have won that as well. So I'm in agreement with Bentel that it's not panic stations yet. We're not at DEFCON 5. Like, they will take the same draft and try and do the exact same thing. And now the Chiefs have to prove that they can continually eat into these deficits.
So Kalista here, Gragas, Tristana for the Chiefs, you reckon?
Yeah, that's what I'm calling.
And then we're going to get, I can't remember Juice pick, Jarvan into
Cassiopeia. I don't think Cassio will be the pick.
Really?
I think that's the
that's
change.
That's going to be a ban, you think?
Nah, I think that, I mean, you can't pick.
Do it.
Nah, he's not going to do it. Tristana's just better. I think that the one lane I would pick Jinx into is if someone tried to play Ashe or someone tried to play Caitlyn. I don't think I would play it ever into... Ooh. There you go, the Chiefs want the Cassio.
Yeah, already an adaptation. Yeah, Jinx has a horrible matchup into Tristana as well. So not great for her there. But let's see what Sin decided to pick up now.
The thing about Jinx is you start the team fight and you're like, oh, this sucks. I have 3 items, why am I doing nothing? Then your support puts Ardent Sensor on you and someone dies, and then you're like, oh my god, look at me go! Look at me, Dad, I'm doing it! And then like everyone calms down again and you're like, oh, this sucks again. Like, why can't I be excited all the time with an Ardent Sensor all the time?
Unlucky. Well, Braum is the adaptation from Sin.
That makes sense.
With Roma's champion taken away.
We've already seen how instrumental the AoE damage coming out of the Chiefs was. Hopefully Braum shuts down some of that. And potentially now, Sin can just start banning away 80 carries.
Yep. I mean, Tristana can be taken away here. That's the big one from last game. Xayah follow up shortly after. But then you still leave a lot of good champions left. You have Twitch that's being played internationally.
Kog'Maw, Sivir.
Kog'Maw.
I mean, they could pick Lulu Kog, so maybe they get rid of Lulu Janna. Maybe that's the play. Say, fight us like men.
But Tristana's the first ban that come out from
that's
Sin.
Disappointing. I thought my idea was good. Obviously, Benzel doesn't agree with me. Damn you, Benzel.
Taliyah first ban from the Chiefs.
Oh, so even though they've taken the Cassiopeia, which is a Taliyah counter, they still get rid of it. So maybe a little bit worried of the global pressure if the map deteriorates that quickly again. They get rid of Galio, so once more global pressure. The Chiefs, the global pressure seems to be the theme with Twisted Fate, Taliyah, Galio gone.
Roma could play Corki here. It's not a great matchup. It's a Cass. But
I'm going to go one step further, Fish. It sucks. You do not want to be a Corki player into Cassiopeia. Incredibly late game, Corki wins. Like when he gets to 3-4 items. Early game in the laning phase, Cassiopeia is much better.
But Roma seems like he's going to be happy to pick up the Orianna
why
into
not?
it.
Mirror match up him.
Let's see if he locks it in. Meanwhile, with Kog'Maw being the last ban from Sin, Xayah's the first pick from the Chiefs. Sejuani locked in for Juice. Dokla top lane Jarvan again.
Yeah, the Xayah interests me because we've seen that. Oh, that's an adaptation.
Emperor of Shurima locked in for Ryoma in the mid lane.
Yep.
Woo! No Ardent Sensor though, Spawn.
No Ardent Saucy.
I mean, you could. Braum technically can proc.
Stoneborn Pact, Q. Soon as he auto attacks, you can't, because you can't put a soldier out first, Fish. You have to auto attack, then get your soldiers out, because otherwise you don't get the healing.
All right, that sucks.
A little bit rough.
Not happy about that one, whereas Lulu does get picked up for Egypt. Little Lance.
Swiffer's favorite ability. They will go for the heal barrier on Raze and Aegium, so a little bit of a defensive mix-up there. There is a lot of engage, so I like that. Ryoma playing Azir is interesting. He's a big Azir player.
Yep.
When he was on Legacy Genesis, he was actually one of the monster Azir players, Fish.
And I know you theorized the Azir pick with Ardent Sansa. What do you think about it without?
I don't care without, because like the reason that I like Azir at the moment is hyper carry plus Azir wins games. And Kalista, not really a hyper carry, but has a lot of attack speed and mobility and can get around team fights if she gets some good resets here. I think that, you know, against mid-range comps, Azir is busted. That wall lasts for so long if it hits the two tanks, and you just can't run through it.
It kind of denies Swiper and Spook's initiation potential as well. Both of them got to jump.
Potentially, yep.
Just put out the soldiers and stop. But this is curious. They didn't show this yesterday against AV, so they've definitely hidden this pick for the match against the Chiefs. I believe when Cassia was picked up by AV, they went for the Orianna.
Yep.
Wait, no, it was the other way around.
I don't know.
Something happened.
Something happened,
but
they didn't play Azir. Like, let's just leave it at that. Let's just leave it with the definitive facts, Fit. They did not play Azir yesterday. This is a new pick, ladies and gentlemen.
And it's been so long. We haven't seen Azir in the longest time.
Hey, I got carried by an Azir 2 nights ago in solo queue. I know all about Azir. Azir God, I think your name is. Thank you very much. I really needed that win. I was on tilt, and he really came up with the goods. But however, in these two teams, you know, both mid-range teams, lots of CC coming out of each of them. But Ardent Sensor for Raze may push him over the edge again. We'll see.
Potentially. Azir, another one of those champions that I've just refused to ever touch. You've actually watched me play one of my Azir games, and you were horrified.
Yeah, don't want to see it ever again, Fish.
But for now, let's check in with Sarianne, who is standing by with Bensel.
Thanks, guys. I'm standing here with Bensel. Now, Sin had to play an exhausting 5 games yesterday. Did you get a chance to review those games and look at any mistakes you may have made before focusing on today's match?
I think we talked about it a lot. There are a lot of them are mistakes that we've seen before from our team, so it's not too surprising from that end. Just try and, you know, clean it up. Yeah.
In games 1 and 2, you've banned out Twisted Fate. Is this a champion that you see as a serious danger when the Chiefs get their hands on it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of a crutch for them. Like, it helps them play around the map early game, which they really struggle with the moment he hits level 6. There's other champions that can do that from mid, but we have more stuff prepared for those champions, so TF is something we might struggle to deal with.
And we've got Azir coming out in the mid lane. Are you able to explain what he brings to your team's composition?
Yeah, he's slowly been getting stronger as a champion. Mainly, he's as a good lane counter to like the medium range champions that are kind of slowly getting weaker and weaker as Riot patches the game. He brings a lot of scaling. Really, that's what you want to do with him. And if you can disengage their front line from an Azir in the late game, then he shreds everyone.
Well, best of luck with the series, Bensel, and thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks.
During that time, FBI has been forced to flash away. He's staying in lane with half health, and Rogue thought he had exhaust.
Yeah, he ignited him straight away. That was interesting. And you can see that FBI takes a lot of damage. Raze dances back before the last proc comes in. Maybe the one weakness of this level 1 is the fact that Aegium has W, flash forward W'd him.
Yep.
Would have liked to see Glitter Lamps, to be honest, because the slow is probably going to be more impactful than the polymorph Fish.
So that was an interesting interaction there that not many people see as well. Kallista's auto attacks do not follow into Fog of War. So if you dash into a brush after she throws one out, it will not connect. The only AD carry I believe that does that.
Yeah, weird skill shot auto attack. I've always disliked it. But you can see this is what Benson was talking about. Good shove against mid-range that can't really bully Azir out. Really good scaling. I agree with him on all accounts. His Azir knowledge is very good, Fish.
Oof, get him.
Thunderlords.
No.
Unfortunately, you can't get double procs at the the Thunderlord proc automatically like you used to be able to. But it's still pretty quick. That was just the base attack speed nerf that came out. Now you'll generally see people go Zerker Greaves on Azir instead of Sork Boots, just for some earlier attack speed. See whether Swiffer gets cheesed here a little bit, as you can see junglers are both already around mid lane.
Yeah, Spook's going to blast cone. No, I thought he was going to blast cone to the Krog. Instead, further into the jungle, moving.
Nah, he caught sight of Hooves and saw he hadn't taken Wolf.
Swiffer wants this fight. Double soldiers coming out. Ryoma fairly healthy.
Yeah, Spooks is going to flash.
Oh, Ryoma doesn't flash away. Hands on head for Ryoma. First blood picked up by Spooks.
Yeah, really nicely done. I mean, you could see as soon as Spooks did the do-si-do that he either want the Raptors or the mid lane kill. And given the fact that they engaged so hard, it was going to be the mid lane kill. We've already seen this play out lots of times. He waits for the shield to fall away, then does a lot of the damage. Juves actually sticks with the play this time. So that's much better from the jungler of Sim Gaming.
Really good trade, but Spook says, all right, I'll come back in. Body bop. Might be a solo kill even. Might even flash him. But meanwhile, bottom lane, Egypt's dead. Ray's in trouble.
He's dead as well.
He's going to get locked down. Does have flash, but he's not even going to use it.
He did.
Spear's ripped out. He thought he could outplay it. Double kill bottom lane.
Yeah, that is absolutely massive. Say what you will about what happened in the mid lane. Now the fact that FBI came back to lane without flash, without any of his health bar, and was still able to pick up the kills there, is huge for Sin. That is such a big win for a team that was falling down through the mid lane again.
And Spooks pushes Juice off the jungle. Here's that fight.
Yeah, so let's have a look at it again. Good tag coming up. Looks like Egypt might have gone a little bit too aggressive here. Must be what happened. Walks forward, just gets stunned up. I mean, Egypt just died.
Ward in the bush as well.
Yeah, but as simple as it is, Egypt face checked and died when he's probably running too much GP10.
Really good shield from Rogue as well. He's able to block all the damage from FBI and Egypt. From Raze and Egypt. Top side of the map, we haven't checked in with this. Going slightly better for Swiper in game 2. He's no longer falling incredibly far behind.
He
First
does,
shot
however, still think that Juves is in his lane.
Yay! Tokla! The cannon minion's about to die. No!
Yeah, it's fine. It's still an okay position for him.
Somewhere in Korea, Atlas is crying.
I think he's actually casting the LCK
He's
final
casting the
right
finals.
now. So I don't know if he is. I think he would be a very happy man. Congratulations to Atlas. First split over there. First year over there, I should say. And able to get the LCK final. That's a pretty big event for him.
So, I miss that guy.
I still talk to him a fair amount, so.
He's unfollowed me on Twitter.
Did he really? Why did he do that? Did you say something to offend him?
There was a stupid
back and forth.
If you do this, I will unfollow you. So I did it.
Of course you did. Yeah, no, that doesn't sound like you at all. It is an Infernal Drake first, so the Chiefs going down in the early game is actually a really massive deal.
One thing I have to comment on is Ryomo's missing a lot of CS. 70.
I
Oh,
don't
what?
care.
Stop it! He has a family!
Yeah, well, you can see that right now. Ejim has the coin going for a quick Ardent Sensor again, and they just keep fighting for some reason. You should be playing back. As T-Gun already said, if you have Ardent Sensor on your 80 carry, you just admit that you're going to lose the lane. They're playing too far up. They use the flash as they get in there, and Raze just dies one more time. I mean, it's pretty simple execution right there for the Sim Gaming bottom lane. If someone doesn't get down there and help out the Chiefs, they're going to lose so much of their advantage.
So mid lane's the big pressure point for the Chiefs. One kill already picked up there, knocking Ryoma down. He's falling 20 CS behind Swiffer in CS. I know, yes, he's been pressured a lot, but he is missing a lot of this just naturally.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, at the same time, 20 CS in the bottom lane is a pretty big deal. That cask is going to absolutely ruin the... Oh, no, it didn't. Cool. What I was going to say is 20 CS is mirrored in the bottom lane, but it's 2 kills, not an assist. So as strong as Swiffer is, FBI is currently much stronger. 1,000 gold is the lead there.
Even top side, that single kill for Spooks on first blood has put him ahead of Choose by 400 gold, but mid lane, 600 in their advantage. But as you mentioned, 1,100 gold in FBI's favor.
Yep.
Ugh.
Which means that right now they need to do something drastic. Trade an Infernal Dragon for a turret top lane by stacking up a wave. Do something really bizarre that's going to throw them off their game, because otherwise they're not going to be able to fight toe-to-toe with the duo lane of Kalista and Braum, especially when level 6 is achieved, Fish.
Durkla still doing well on the top side here against Swiper. But here's Spooks. Nars him back. Stun locks him, slows him down as well. We'll use the Cataclysm. In fact, says, I will fight you. Flash away, Swiper.
Yeah,
and Spooks can't do anything.
Spooks actually nearly killed his top laner there, because he body slammed into creeps for no reason, Fish. Got creep blocked a little bit, thought he was past them. He wasn't. And unfortunately, that means that top lane will be hard frozen for Dokla if he wants it to be. He's instead going to push it out. Must be on the crux of an item. And you can see that the lane swap has come through, which is pretty big because Swiper doesn't have ult or flash, so he just might die in this lane swap.
So Ward's been placed down by FBI in case they need a teleport, but Dokla's is down. This turret's going to take a lot of damage. Should be the first turret falling for Sin again.
Yeah, looks like it's actually going to fall down. You can see Spook's still top side of the map. Maybe he's going to lend his weight behind that one. We'll be interested to see whether Sin go towards, a dragon as well as a turret and keep the tempo pretty neutral, or whether they just swap back straight away. Raze and Ejim should be able to get this turret because, as we mentioned, Dokla actually had no mana, which is a pretty big deal for Jarvan's wave clear.
Which is why I really like that push from Dokla. If he froze it, that would have been turret already being hit by the Chiefs. Pushing it out, delayed, raising it a bit longer. Let's see what FBI as well as Rogue decides to do next. Do they swap back up?
Oh, Rogue, very cheeky, knows that Swiper likes to duck into the jungle and grab some camps for himself. Actually takes away the leash from the Grom.
Bloody Grom Goblin. What else do you want, Swiper? The jungle is not yours.
But they get the Infernal Drake, and this is big deal for Sin because all of a sudden the scaling of Azir gets so much scarier just because of the random RNG of Infernal being first straight picked up. If it's a next Infernal Dragon and they can continue snowballing some of this gold lead, that will continue to be a win condition they can look for.
Lots of members of Sin posturing
Cloud
around the bottom
Dragon
lane.
next, so no continued snowball going to be achieved at all, Fish.
Unlucky.
Unfortunate.
So turrets fall on both sides of the map. Dokla stays top side. FBI and Rogue will stay on the bottom side of the map. Continue pushing there. Where do Raze and Ejim go now?
I think they have to go back bottom lane. I mean, there's nothing really to accomplish anywhere else.
It's 2 levels behind FBI.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Ouch.
He's not having a great time right now. He had to split the gold also with Spooks, who stuck around for that. He had given up too much of his jungle to not take some experience and gold from that turret. So I like Spooks' call there to make sure that he stays ahead of Juves, because Spooks has been jungling very well this best of 5 so far, Fish.
Yep, he has.
Dokla can't freeze waves anymore because he is a Jarvan, but he stacked it up nicely, which means if they bring in their duo lane right now, they're going to have a huge creep wave. Would like to see Spooks get up there and just toss a cask at it. There's nothing really you can accomplish bottom side. And this might be, once again, the 2-for-1 trade, because a creep wave is better for Sin Gaming, and they've got the Herald on their side of the map. Solo mission coming in for Spooks. Needs to be careful.
Currently, Moju's is on the bottom side. Bing. Chickens.
That's too little one. That's actually not that bad.
FBI, Rogue, and Dokla will work on the top lane outer turret. Raze and Ejim for now alone, but Spooks will join them. So turret trades across the map. Pings already from Sin to go towards the Rift Herald. There are triple control wards around top side wherever, so they'll spot them moving there. But numbers advantage way too strong for them.
Chiefs might actually push through here, though, however, because they see that 2 members peel off, and they can just bring Swiffer to the top lane, and they can try and defend 2v3, and then actually continue to push bottom side. See whether that is going to be the case.
Rogue tags him with his bite, slows him down. Dokla and FBI chunk down this top lane inner turret quite well. Dokla posturing aggressively.
Certainly is, but they need to be careful.
Petrifying gaze, Dokla in trouble. Flag drag out. Turret shot does not follow through. Narrowly avoids death there, but good chunk on the turret. Meanwhile, bottom lane.
Exactly right. However, Juves did get Rift Herald, so as long as they are able to use that proactively on a mid lane turret, this is still a fairly good trade for Sin. I think they just got a little bit too greedy for that top lane.
They're going to get it
still going to look to get it, however. So you're right, Fish. They do trade up in nearly every way.
So Chiefs will take down bottom lane inner first. Trading equally, still good for the Chiefs, but as you mentioned, Rift Herald picked up means Sin have a turret in their back pocket.
But the big thing for me is if Chiefs were going to go towards this game plan, just play the laning phase a little bit more passively. You shouldn't die twice and then trade turrets evenly. I mean, there's 1,000 gold still between FBI and Raze. Oh, 1,500 gold, in fact. That's a BF sword and, like, a long sword, for example. And everywhere else is ahead for the Chiefs, nearly.
Except for top lane, which is 400 in Dokla's favor in a level.
Yeah.
Swiper again has been left to the wolves a little bit.
Just being jockeyed around the map a little bit. Dokla's been able to join pushes this time, whereas Swiper's actually had to sit there and defend turrets. Obviously, not going to be the best of that. Ejim in a little bit of trouble.
Rogue.
Tagged up, yep. Got his Sightstone before he went for the Ardent Sensor this time around.
Could this be the adaptation?
His build.
I mean, Raze was falling so far behind. Does it make sense to get it early?
I mean, you always want it as early as possible, because it makes your 2-item power spike or 1-item power spike, pretty much.
Get him.
You can see Dokla has walked a massive creep wave into the bottom side. You can see Sweeper, now moving down there to try and pick some of it up. Hasn't got ulti just yet. Will be ticking up. Wonder if that's what he's waiting for to make sure he doesn't get dove.
It's a very similar situation to game 1, but Sin not with a drastic lead.
Yep.
They have the biggest differential, which is FBI.
Rift Herald's been popped mid lane.
Dokka's mid lane as well.
Yep.
Surfer still busy bottom. Egypt's got to be careful. He doesn't have much armor, and he can be dove, but Rift Herald does get a charge in. Good defense for the Chiefs, though, means they probably won't lose this turret.
Yeah, no,
Yet.
not off the first trade. But now, this is one of those areas that you can set up a team fight around mid lane. The Chiefs will feel like they've got a little bit more security than they actually have. And Stokely maybe got out a little bit here.
Fast cone gets him over.
So they need to make sure that they don't throw up a last stand around that mid lane turret that a breath of fresh air would knock down Fish. And once again, Sin have looked very good in this early game. It's not as good as their last early game. They're only 1,000 gold up. But this time, the money is on FBI. And you'd have to say that Razor's carry, even though it scales well, does not scale as well as a Tristana into the late game.
So this turret falls, FBI gets one. Oh, they
Ooh,
tag
Raze might be
Raze.
dead.
He's in a lot of trouble. Blade of Ruin King used as well. Stunlock doesn't come through, forces the ultimate out of Raze.
Yeah, because that would have been the stun on that auto attack. So Raze just bites the bullet, burns a cooldown. You can see scratches his head, says, whoa, this game's hard. Didn't expect such an aggressive lane out of FBI and Rogue. You can see FBI was actually checking near the turret. That's one cool thing you can do with Kalista, is check for recalls quite effectively.
I know Michael Singh is a big Kalista fan.
He is. Best Kalista player in OS, apparently.
I am not. Too many mechanics. Meanwhile, Dokla's getting knocked back in. Flag drags his way out. The rest of his team is there.
Still
to
worthwhile.
defend it.
They shoved them off one side of the split push, and we said last game that the important thing split push-wise is that you're able to nullify at least one half of the map. You can't let all 3 waves continually get pushed in because you just suffocate Fish. So, you know, being able to relieve pressure on one side means that now Swiper can go top lane. He's going to be completely fine up there to shove that one. Probably about to river before the reset comes in. And maybe we'll see some more posturing around Baron, this time with a Azir's ultimate to try and keep the Chiefs out.
Third Dragon to spawn will be a Cloud again.
Chiefs have been saved by Dragon. Because the scaling of Azir is much more intimidating than what the scaling of the short-range mage of Cassiopeia is. Unless Cassiopeia gets the ideal situation, right? Theoretical DPS is still through the roof. However, I think that when you have a look at how these team fights will play out, Azir will be more useful at this stage. And it still does good Baron damage, but 3 Infernals would push Azir into the ridiculous category.
But a little bit quiet between Sin and Chiefs for now. This is turning out to be a really good series between the two of them. Not one-sided in any way. Back and forth game 1. Game 2 is relatively close.
Yep, still only 1,400 gold. I mean, the difference between them right now is the 80 carries. And once again, one of them's going to pick up an Infinity Edge at some point in this game. So even though right now the game is looking pretty ordinary out of Raze, as long as he gets towards 3 items as well as an Ardent Sensor, he will do more damage than what the Kalista is able to.
We know the chefs can cook up a storm and delay this game as long as they need to. They did it last match and it worked out. This game a lot easier. They do have Swiffer in the mid lane doing well. Spooks is ahead as well.
Although Swiffer was 20 CS up, and because he was put in the side lane so much to give some farm over to Raze, he is now significantly down.
Swiper is caught up though. He's found some farm elsewhere on the map. Ultimate does come out for Spooks just to stop that wave. Jude says, not like this. Don't like turrets very much.
Yep. Another thing we should probably talk about. Oh, no, we shouldn't.
Good damage on Ryoma. He's going to flag drag. Slide away. Do the Shurima shuffle. Heals as well to jump out. Turns on the Swiffer.
Yeah, but once again, that was Swiffer's ultimate actually burnt there. So big expenditure. Spooks is being collapsed on. See whether he gets stunned up here.
Oh, not enough. Can't lock him down.
And the Chiefs would take this. The longer that the game just stays here, with the Chiefs farming all of their waves, the better off it is for them. As Ryoma again is getting chased down, although now Juve's in the mid lane. Spooks is also there, however.
He got tagged by the poison, so Juve's forced him run away.
Oh, that was half a second away from being a grounded Juve in a very bad situation. Raze, however.
Oh no, FBI sticks in him. Couple more autos would have been enough, but can't get in there. As well as the ultimate from Rogue whiffing.
Yeah, gets double summoner spells, however. Exhaust. Oh!
Good flash from Ryoma. Very respectful.
No cask available, however. Juves does have the ulti. We'll look over the wall. Chiefs disengage. Flash for flash there. And this game feels like it's about to break open. You feel one mistake from either of these teams. You know, Ryoma falling down or Ray's falling down one more time could actually cost their team major.
Chiefs maybe get mid lane turret here. Jim has to be careful. You can see how much Winter's bite hurts. That's because he has no resistance-based seals or quints on the Lulu. Does have his Ardent Sensor now. But is it going to be enough? Mid lane, our turret did not get pushed down by the Chiefs. So they were not able to capitalize on sending Ryoma back to base.
So what they did instead is they cheated into Fog of War and got 2 recalls off, which are tempo recalls because they obviously had a little bit of money to spend, but also means that FBI and Rogue, who were punishing Raze and Ejim, can't go near that lane at the moment. So I think that that was actually a really smart decision from the Chiefs. Rogue and FBI are playing this so incredibly well that if they don't have pressure somewhere, we'll see a kind of Doppler-esque situation from yesterday, Fish, where if you leave them in a 2v2, pure 2v2 lane, they're just going to get run over the top of. So you have to do little things, like cheating into Fog of War, throwing them a gank every now and again, like when Spooks just threw a cask randomly at them, to make sure that they at least know that there's 3 other members on Summoner's Rift that can do some damage if they don't respect them enough.
So Nash's Tooth was picked up by Ryoma.
Oh, he got Sork Boots.
Went Sork Boots instead of Berserker Greaves.
Huh. Normally I see both Nash's Tooth and Berserker Greaves picked up. Obviously Sork Boots do way more damage as the game progresses. So more about the combo at this stage of the game than it will be about that big one spell. Swiper's about to go Mega. See whether he wants to dive in. Swiffer is also here. Got him.
Ooh.
Huge flash.
Good flash away. Swiper going to take quite a bit of damage there. He flashed for that too.
Yep. Flash for a flash, but once again, just showing that you have to respect the rest of our map. Even though you are incredibly ahead, some of our carries are still quite fed. FBI equal to the task though. The grounder was half a second too late. So wasn't able to get that layering of CC perfect. See the Chiefs very nervous about this one.
4 members down
here.
That's huge. Oh no, FBI. Why?
They're
it's
still
3
chasing.
on 4. Chiefs get the pick they want. Dokla can just walk in a turret, but that's it. That's all he gets for it. Walks a minion wave into a turret.
Yeah, exactly right. And the Chiefs get the pick on the member they must shut down. They can't continue to let FBI absolutely explode on Summoner's Rift. They break some of that confidence, and they're looking... Oh,
Dokla's in trouble.
Swiffer.
Nice. Flags and drags out.
Yep.
So that's what we mentioned in the first game. Picks and bans. FBI's position, it's normally great, but on the off chance he gets caught out doing something like that, where all he had to do was back away, let Dokla split push, send someone from the Chiefs top. He doesn't do it. Steps up to hit a turret and Swix punishes him.
Yeah, but it's the same thing that makes him a confidence player, right? Same thing that when we're like, my God, FBI, killing people twice in lane, absolute superstar. That is the same thing that makes him step towards that turret and say, I can take this fight. So you can't break one without breaking the other, unfortunately, Fish. FBI giveth, FBI taketh away.
He's the Uzi of the OPL?
I would honestly say he is. Doesn't have the weird champion pool that Uzi has. Like, we haven't seen a Lucian pick out of him yet.
Or a Vayne.
Certainly is up there in terms of the ability to mechanically outplay someone in a 1v1. Chiefs want the Baron right now.
Ooh, they do have Cassiopeia, so it does a lot of damage to Baron.
Yep.
But not enough control, and they are on red side. Makes it a bit harder to sneak a Baron.
Actually makes it easier.
Really?
As long as you have flash. So what you do is you blast Cone over, you start hitting it, and as long as they have sight of Spooks, they're going to assume nothing is happening right now. Spooks then joins them, and he has the flash.
Sneaky, sneaky.
And this can be the Baron take.
That's Baron gone.
Maybe not yet. So it takes a long time. So they started to ping it. Spooks is very low.
It's gone.
Yeah, now it's gone.
Cloud Dragon for a Baron. What?
Nah, not worth it. Now Swiffer has to walk the long way around, so they will look for him, but won't get him. And the Chiefs, just like that, they have 1,000 gold lead somehow, Fish. Don't ask me how.
With Baron buff to work with.
But they don't. Yeah. I mean, this series has been bonkers so far. Credit to Sin, their early game is seriously impressive, but their mid game against AV and now against the Chiefs has seriously started to fall down a little bit.
So you can see where the gold leads lie. Swiper's now pulled back up.
The gold lead lies on Ejim. So I can answer how, because Braum, unfortunately, is stuck trying to hit creeps, and the more people start grouping up, the less you get your Targon stacks. So many times in solo queue, you'll be running around with Targon stacks. I'm sure that's kind of similar in pro play, whereas Ejim is just running GP10 everywhere.
Yep.
If we allowed him to run it on blues, I'm sure he would have it there as well.
He's got quints and yellows.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, you can see that Ejim is 1,300 gold up. over Rogue. And that is going to be things like the Chalice of Harmony, things like the Ardent Sensor that will come out, the repetitive shields. It's just going to help so much. Spooks gets caught, however.
They lock down Spooks. Good damage. Wildgrove comes out. Flag drag in from Dokla, but Sin, they might have to disengage. No! They're committing. Fate's Call throws in a brawl. Pile on in towards the Gragas. Splits the team with the ultimate.
They can kill Juves.
Forced to flash out so low. Swiffer and Swiper nowhere close to this fight. They're still split pushing.
But they don't want to be anywhere close to this fight, Fish, because all of a sudden you are trying to force down mid lane into Baron buffs. You've just burnt all your big engaged spells apart from Dokla's Cataclysm, and now they can collapse. Ooh,
They get 2 flashes. Ejim taking some damage. Raze wants to lock him down. Winter's
the
Blade
Chiefs
doesn't
just
connect.
stay. I mean, once again, a 4th. That is the last one. All of a sudden, Swipers, he's hitting base turrets. He's going to take one down.
The heck?
And if you ever go too deep, the problem is, see that cheeky water around the corner near Rivet on top side? If you go too deep, Swiper just teleports on you. So they're trying to flirt with, can we blow someone up? Can we actually get a clean engage? They can't. Now they're going to lose 3 turrets for it.
Top lane, inner dies. Bottom lane, inhibitor turret dies. Mid lane, outer turret dies as well as the Chiefs knock down structures left, right, and center.
Yeah, and now Swiper joins, and you can see the big Meganar must be respected. And actually gets Juves.
They've got ultimates as well. Oh, good damage coming up from the Azir. Switches at half health. They're going in. Oh, Winter's Bite narrowly misses.
Certainly does. They set up the Azir turret, so this is good. Counter
Ultimate.
push once again. Swiper. Oh!
Swiffer flashes forward. Knock off from Dokla, and the Lady of the Snakes are dead. Here comes Rima. Shurima shuffling in. But look at Quinny. Raze with the triple. He wants the quadra. Gets it. Pentakill picked up for Raze.
He actually kills himself. He stands underneath the turret, but he's out of his chair. Quinn is absolutely popping off. Raze of the Chiefs gets the pentakill, and the Chiefs will look to break the base again.
What a fantastic match between Sin and the Chiefs. They forced, they tried, they got Swiffer, but Raze stands and delivers. My goodness.
That is a hype play if I've ever seen one, and Sin must be demoralized. What do they have to do, Fish, to be able to repel this Chiefs lineup? They got themselves ahead again, and now it is an 8,000 gold lead to the Chiefs.
Some people say, you know, FBI looking like the best AD carry. I'll get to that in a bit. Look at that.
Yeah, Swiffer flashes forward. 3 members get hit. He throws them all into Rogue, but they still chase onto it. Triple kill immediately. Ryoma's ulti does absolutely nothing, and Raze just dances forward over and over again. He knows he's dead, knows he can't get away, but he still picks up a penta.
Some people say, you know, FBI looking like best AD carry to split. Cupcake as well as Lost look like the best duo lane, bot lane, but Raze, pentakill after pentakill on this champion. There's a reason why early in this split, no one could give him Xayah.
Exactly right, and now he's got 3 items, Fish. He's going towards what looks like to be a Last Whisperer as well. He's got the Ardent Sensor for the extra attack speed. What was a man that was so far behind is now up in CS, up in kills, and his team is up 7,000 gold. The Chiefs are looking to 2-0 Sin and really stamp their mark on this best of 5.
This feels like game 1 all over again. My goodness. Sin taking control early, bottom lane, Snowball so far ahead. Well, Swiffer, he held his ground against Ryoma. Spooks did so well in the jungle.
But around the world, we've just seen it. Early games, unless you can really play perfectly, unless you can put the screws in, unless you are as good as the Direwolves, you just can't punish late. RNG won a game where they didn't have base turrets last night. Spoiler alert. They absolutely decimated WE with a Corki pickup, and late game scaling just seems to be king in League of Legends right now. You have to be able to team fight, and Raze is one of the best in the league at it.
Certainly is. Now, how do Sin fight their way back into this game? 7,000 gold behind. They've been forcing these fights. But the disengage, the Xayah, the Lulu, the Gragas is so potent in this 1-3-1.
It certainly is. I mean, because of Xayah's ulti, because you're moving and you're untargetable, it's just so hard to lock you down, Fish. It is so hard to be able to tie her up. That's why Jarvan's normally such a good pick into it. But we can see they weren't leading with Dokla, they were leading with Juves, which meant that he always had a situation in which he could get away. Flash nearly back available again. And he's going to start really hurting now. 80% crit chance.
Still no idea how you initiate into this team comp. We've already talked about Gragas and Xayah, but Lulu on top of that. Then you have Cassiopeia, originally picked to be anti-engage, for anti-engage team comps.
I mean, Swiffer flashed forward in the last one, but that Petrifying Gaze is what you're talking about when you pick Cassiopeia to protect an AD carry. 3 members stopped dead in their track. because Swiffer was able to flash forward. Very clutch timing on that. And now with Cassiopeia, with Xayah, as well as a tank, plus an Ardent Sensor 80 carry, it is nigh impossible to force them off Baron unless you just run at them and fight. And that is exactly what the Chiefs want.
And let's see what the next step is. For now, they're keeping Swiper in the bottom lane. Remember, no inhibitor turrets down there. Cloud Dragon, going to be picked up by Raze. Nice and easy.
Ulted for some reason. He facepalmed. He's laughing. All right, that was a strange... No, we saw it. I don't want to hear it, we saw it.
Exactly.
However, it is really short cooldown. What has he got? 20-30% cooldown reduction already at this stage of the game?
2/3 left.
Yeah, it's already nearly back up and available. As long as they don't fight for Baron as soon as it spawns, it should be up and available. However, if they do and they lose, bow your head in shame, Mr. Raze. Ooh, Spooks. He's getting a little bit frisky. He wants a fight.
Very tanky man, the Gragas, especially with Gargoyle Stoneplay picked up.
Yeah.
Big Switch still split pushing.
I mean, and now
Sin
Sin have to force. This is a really good force from Sin. Obviously, they don't know about Raze's ult, but they do know that Swiffer wasn't there. Their teleport will come in.
Swiper is mega, so he's not going to come in as mini. Spooks jumps in, separates the team. Re-engage coming out from Raze. Spooks pops Gargoyles on top of the Braum ultimate. Moves very slow, but he couldn't rip the sticks out. Swiper
gets
Mega 9 the wall, does get 2. Dokla re-engaging. Ultimate for Raze, not up yet, but the Polymorph locks down Dokla. They're still trying to re-engage. Rogue with the shield. Petrifying Gaze only slows down Sid, and both of them will back off.
Exactly right, but can the Chiefs start up Baron? Are they healthy enough? Do they want to threaten this? Because if multiple members go back, then they will just commit. It was only going to be Dokla, and he teleports back in straight away.
Ultimate for Raze back up now, so that mistake now can be used in their advantage. Let's see if the Chiefs want to reinitiate a fight. Swiper going mega again soon. No Gnar ultimate. Blue buff, not going to be picked up by Roma. Spook smites that one away. It does have the second proc coming out shortly. Wild Growth onto Raze.
Yes, Spooks obviously doesn't trust Raze. Knocks him away. Ejim ultimate at the same time. They were very worried about that. One spear from FBI puts Ejim down very low, but with a massive creep wave bottom and Ryoma in base, the Chiefs once again march towards Baron.
Do they know that Ryoma's in base though? Sin can't see anyone from the Chiefs. Spooks now spotted out. Juice, the first target here. Rogue dashing back, puts up a big shield. Successful disengage, but for how long? Ryoma's coming back. Look at the bottom lane wave! Exactly. It's an army!
And they maybe have caught out Raze here, however. Flash is available.
Ultimate available as well. Uses both.
Got a big root, but they knock people back, Fish.
Dokla is very low, though. He's forced away. Swiffer throws down the grounded. Rogue in trouble. Ultimate does come out from the jungler, but that's going to be go time for Baron, and Sin just watch helplessly as it falls.
Unrelenting pressure from the Chiefs. Never overcommitting, always looking for the disengage. Baron was the objective all along, and they're able to secure their second of the game.
Oof, almost getting bottom lane inhibitor as well for that. Let's see if we can get back there in time. That will slowly regenerate its health. But with Baron buff, 9,000 gold lead. Sin, they're putting up a good fight. It's just, the gold lead's too drastic.
This is two teams playing at their absolute best right now, Fish. You can see that Sin, they know that one more team fight will cost them this game. But if they're able to nab one, it will reverse this gold swing so substantially. Raze is really the only Chiefs member that is incredibly accelerated. I mean, apart from Agent, who's got like double the gold of anyone else just because of his runes. 3,000 gold up. But everyone else is still relatively close.
He's got more gold than everyone than but FBI.
Yeah.
What? He's got more gold than his jungler at the moment.
I'm telling you, GP10. It's a fun way to play support at the end of the game. Start of the game, it sucks. Laning phase, not good at all, but you can see that this greedy play out of Egypt in back-to-back games has really paid off for the Chiefs squad.
Certainly has. Accelerating so far ahead on the Lulu pick here.
They go towards the weakened inhibitor, also the Baron inhibitor if they're not able to close out the game this time around.
They force. Locking Spooks down, but Courage of Colossus, he still hasn't taken any of his health and damage. Now at half health, many sticks ripped up by FBI. They pull back Rogue, though, with Fate's Call.
Yeah, certainly do. So we'll see what the Chiefs are able to accomplish. Rapid Fire Cannon does mean that they get access to that inhibitor. Swiper.
Jump over.
But now they can't engage. I mean, I think Swiper should have just walked a long way, to be honest. So we'll see what the Chiefs want to look for. Mid lane has got an open inhibitor again.
I didn't realize that. This is going to be difficult. Let's see how the Chiefs navigate with the Baron buff. Top lane wave is massive as well.
Certainly is. So the Chiefs have got all their waves set up. Spooks getting some of that health back. Goes in one more time.
Turret put up by
Hits
Dokla. Raze pops the ultimate. Dokla jumps in, pops his gargoyle. Spooks and
Here goes FBI.
Big cataclysm coming out from Dokla. He will fall for that one though. Petrifying Gaze locks down both carries. Reimer's in trouble. Rose jumping to his side. Juice is going to fall down. The Gnar backwards. The Emperor of Shurima has been taken down. And the Chiefs storm onto the Rifts. 3 kills picked up against Sin. They're going for the Nexus.
That'll do it. That'll be game. The Chiefs are going to go up 2-0. This time it's Swiffer. Double target, Petrifying Gaze on both Ryoma and FBI. Enough to pick up the team fight and enough to pick up game 2.
Second Nexus turret is going to fall down. And with that, the Chiefs 2 games in a row. They come back from an early game deficit. They take it to Sin. And they are now at match point.
Redemption is the theme. Sure, Raze would enjoy the pentakill, but how much would Big Swifts and Sammy be enjoying this one? Spooks, the jungler of the Chiefs, with Swiffer. They're kind of the core that brought this team together, Fish. And they're both having terrific best of 5s today. 2
games in a row. Swiper gives the death stare to the camera. The Big Swift stare. Raze was ecstatic in that game, and he's had 2 back-to-back good performances. Not in the early game. His laning phase was atrocious.
Hugs to Ejim and Swiffer as well. Ejim, he's feeling the pressure a little bit. He had a lot of gold, but the Chiefs, they're standing as a unit. You have to say that not one individual is really tying this all together. We've had big plays out of Swiper. We've had Raze pick up a pentakill. We've had Swiffer with huge Petrifying Gazes and 2 very good laning phases back-to-back.
Yep.
I think that all of the Chiefs members really looking promising today.
Certainly is, and it kind of reminds me of yesterday, where, you know, AV playing well as a team, almost took down Sin. Sin, individual performances looking great. The question is it enough going up against the Chiefs? Now, they have to find it within themselves to pick up a reverse sweep if they want to stay in the Gauntlet run.
Exactly right, but hey, guess what, Fish? A split ago, well, in this exact situation, everyone was saying, what the heck has happened to the Chiefs? They look like they're a completely different team. They've picked up the first 2 games, and then Sin ran a train over the top of them. I mean, this best of 5 is not over. Juves, he just has to go find a mirror somewhere. He'll be able to bring this one back for his team, and they're not really that far off.
Deja vu in both series so far. Sin are playing really well against the Chiefs, but it's just not enough to analyze that game a little bit further. Let's send it back to the desk.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to So You Think You Can Reverse Sweep. This is episode 1, season 1. Let's see if we can get into this, because Sin are now down 2 games in this best of 5 series. And Chiefs, you know, they've thrown it before. Will they throw it again? No, let's talk about this game, shall we?
I'm going to be honest, I kind of hope they do, because I want to see it go to 5 games.
Yeah.
The 5 game Sin winning condition.
Yeah.
That's what they need.
5.
They just need to scale for the next 2 hours, and they're all good.
Oh, so this isn't even in-game scaling. This is mental scaling.
So, first thing I want to talk about, before we even get into how Chiefs won, why they won, what are you doing in a scaling lane playing aggressive?
Yeah.
We spoke about it before the game even started because they did the same sort of thing last game. In a scaling lane, you sit back, he has GP 10 runes, take your time, get Ardent Sensor.
Don't lose your turret at 8 minutes or whatever, that's fine.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Bit of it, yeah.
But
just scale it out, you say.
Ejim walks forward, gets punted by Braum. Braum didn't even have to use his W as a gap closer. That's generally the way Braum's get you is you pick like Braum Tristana, jump in, Braum W's towards you, and uses a gap, it as a pseudo gap closer. It didn't even happen. Ejim just flat out played it poorly. And then Raze burns his flash when he's already dead. So not only did they give away early kills to make the lane difficult, he flashes away, so they then pick up another kill later on and force Chiefs to have to lane swap out, which they did quite well. You do have to lane swap when you're that far behind. Get out of the lane, try and move to a place that you're safe. But it made the game so needlessly difficult for them when it didn't need to be. And I hated almost every second of it as an avid Ardent Sensor Lulu player.
Just before we move on, though, I want to ask about that. Is Raze playing aggressive early on, not because he doesn't know he's going to scale, but because they have that early skirmish, you know, level 1 where Sin lose a couple of summoner spells, and then Raze probably thinks, look, you know, these guys are behind. I need to use my flash now. I'm going to head in, and then it kind of goes backwards.
It's hard to get into the mind of them and say why they're doing it. That's Very possible. But even with the summoner advantage, if you're going to play a scaling lane, you need to be extremely picky with your fights, and it just wasn't a smart fight at the end of the day.
I mean, like, to be fair, right? We did point out at the beginning that Chiefs is not the best early game team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Raze did play pretty poorly. I mean, the duo lane played pretty poorly at the beginning, but I mean, they really came back later on into the game, right? This is the second replay that I want to bring up, and that fight right here. I mean, Sin got a pretty decent engage, and then everything kind of went bad because Swiffer dropped a very, very nice miasma onto Brom and what's his name? FBI.
Yes.
And that gave a very, very nice the damage condition, like for
the rest of the team.
for the
to
rest
just
of the
go
team and
clean it up.
Raze.
Yeah.
Especially Raze, because he did not back off.
Yeah.
He did not back off. That's the
coward.
one thing. Like, he's like, all right, hey, I've got my first item. Lulu's got the item sensor. Let's fight.
Yep, he's hit his one-item power spike.
Like, instead of, 20 minutes ago, we were like, oh, we have no items, but let's fight. Now we're like, we have items. Hey, we can fight.
So he just wants to fight all the time.
Yeah, they just want to fight, actually.
I do want to highlight in that replay, one thing I love when Xayah players do, he ulted and he went forward. Because he knows he's safe, he knows his team's going to back him up, he goes forward, puts out a lot of damage. I actually think he could have survived. I don't know if everyone was watching his player cam, he jumped up out of his chair screaming.
He's about to take a bow.
Sin might have heard him,
Mid-game.
I don't know. All right, but he just stood there after the pentakill and died to the tower. Maybe because he jumped up, I don't know, I'll have to ask him. But he probably could have survived
Let's
as
get a
well.
ruling on that. Yeah.
So,
Let's get a
maybe a little too hypey. Just a little.
Man, well, he's known to pop off after he gets a pentakill, he likes to declare himself the perfect
He
player.
gets so many.
And he has said before, like earlier on the split, Raze did say, look, I don't mind that my team is making mistakes because it allows me to carry them harder.
Yeah.
Maybe he's saying, look, I don't mind if I make mistakes because it makes it easier for me to carry myself harder. You know what I mean? It's an internal logic thing there. No?
Is it?
No. Let's talk about the draft as we move on through this game. And again, Sin sticking with that Twisted Fate ban. Still looks like they're sticking with this for the whole series.
It's hard to fault their pick ban because they're doing so well early game. I'm still not a huge fan of it. I'm not a huge fan of the Morgana ban or the Twisted Fate ban. But again, Bensel's a smart guy. He's obviously done his research and found something out that I haven't. But again, they're doing so well early game that it's hard to fault the draft, except I do not like Azir.
Despite having 26k damage.
Doesn't matter how much damage he did. Sin are an early game team.
Yeah.
They're winning through the early game. Why are you picking a champion that's notorious for doing nothing until 3 items? I'm not a fan of it.
He even went the Void Staff second.
Yep, and
That was,
still not a fan. Still not a fan.
interesting
I
build path.
put him back on something that's aggressive. Syndra, Zed, Orianna, Talia, find something that he's played before, he's known for, he's good at. Let him go off early. Don't pick him something that even he was doing quite well, but what he can do is limited by the champion at that point, and I wasn't a fan of it.
So the cast has talked about this a little bit during the game, but Azir isn't something we've seen a lot of in the OPL or at all this split or even this year, I don't think. So talk us through, like, how should you play around Azir then, Tegan?
Personally, I just say
pick it? Is
don't
that
do anything until 3 items.
Right, I see.
Like, Harris, you might have a better idea about it, but
I mean, like, you just look to try and extend your team, your laning phase as long as possible.
Yeah.
But then, you look at your comp. You have your Jarvan, you have your Sejuani, you have your Kalista, and support Brom.
Yeah.
You're definitely looking to team fight early on. So, I mean, Azir, yeah, you have the Emperor's Divide, you have that Shurima shuffle, just drifting around the Summoner's Rift, but you do no damage, right? After all, like, you did everything. Like, look at there's one point where they initiate on the Gragas. And all Chiefs have to do is Lulu or the Gragas.
Yeah,
and
Gragas gets real
Gragas just
big.
gets out with, 70% health.
Yeah.
And then the rest of Sin lineup is just like,
No more kit.
what do we do now?
Guys, we used everything and he didn't die. I don't know, man.
I mean, they ended up losing, I think it was 2 or 3 towers off that as well. Because Dragons just walked away, and then Chiefs just harassing them, being that pesky little fly. Like, hey, guys, come fight us again.
The important thing is the Gragas survived. Now, I do want to go back to talking about Raze because we shouted him out in the first game. You were a bit skeptical in the first game. Then you saw him intentionally feed, presumably, in the first bit of the second game. T-Gun. But then he kind of came into his own, like Vicarious said.
Like I said, it might just be because I have really high expectations of him. And the start of that game, I was not feeling good about him. But then by the mid game, he was making me a believer again. Not because of the pentakill, because of how he was playing. He was playing aggressive. He was playing in your face with the belief that Ejim would save him, with the belief that he knows how to use his ultimate, not at Dragon in team fights, and save himself from whatever's going to be dealt his way.
Maybe Ray's has just been watching this analyst desk every week. We just call AD carries cowards. And he's like, you know what? I don't care if I die 3 times early on. I'm not going to be called a coward, damn it.
If someone is not going to be called a coward that game, it's Swiffer.
Yeah.
That counter engage in mid lane, Swiffer sees his teammate get Sejuani ult and decides, nah. Flashes in Cassiopeia ulti to start the fight.
Which whiffed anyway. I don't think the Cassiopeia ult got anyone.
Doesn't matter. He never dogs the boys.
I think he was the one that got Sejuani ulted. Oh, wait, no, was it?
No, it was
Okay, so let's pivot now and talk about this series going forward, because last split what we saw was Chiefs took the first 2 games and then Sin reverse swept and took the last 3 games. So if that is going to play out again, and presumably the scriptwriters want that to happen, what does Sin need to do to take back this series?
Like the caster said, find a mirror. But in all honesty, mentally reset, look at your draft, think, is there a better way that we can play this? I'm not even sure there is. They're winning early game pretty consistently, so maybe there's something that has to change mid-game in either the communication, the shot calling, the planning. It's hard to say, but for me, if I'm Juves, I'm giving the boys a speech and just saying, we've won early game twice in a row. We've did it pretty well against Avant yesterday. Just focus on the early game and transitioning that, as opposed to, like Vicarious said, finding a way to throw it 25 minutes every game.
Okay, so one thing that I find with Sin is that, we've talked so much about their early game, and we've talked so much about Chiefs' late game, right? So, the Sin have played not perfectly, but really well in the early game. They played very methodically. They got the bot turret, rotated top, got Rift Herald, they got mid turret, etc., etc. And then when they try to break into the second layer of the turrets, they try to play into Chiefs' game, which is, macro play. You don't really see a lot of flankings going on. You don't really see actually aggressive plays that, Sin is actually known for.
Yeah, we saw that being exemplified in game 1, where they tried to 1-3-1, as opposed to, like you said, what they're known for is just breaking down towers, barreling down a mid lane or a bot lane. And maybe that's where they have to go back to it. Again, I'm not too sure. It's not my sort of play style.
You want to see Sin play the sort of a club style?
I want to see Sin play the Sin style.
Sin style.
You just want to be on the Blitzcrank.
Pretty much. That's my life in a nutshell, right? Just run up to people, throw my hands at them, and punch them. But if Sin can't do that, all right,
that's criminal behavior. Let's be honest. It's absolutely criminal behavior.
Not in League of Legends.
Someone get the cops, please.
Yeah,
come on. We're talking about Blitzcrank.
Okay. So then for a team like Sin, Vicarious, if you're coaching these guys, right? If you're there giving them the team speech, the Jews are presumably giving them right now, and you're saying, look, we need to mentally reset, right? Yesterday, they actually took the first 2 games before they went and then dropped the next 2. So they've been at match point before and been able to scale it back. What kind of things are you telling them in terms of a mental reset they need to have going into game 3?
At this point of I would just tell them to not think about the first 2 games, because it's not like they got stomped, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they got perfect gamed or anything. They did well. They had a lead. They threw it because they were trying to play into something that they're not used to. They're not comfortable with. So game 3, possibly just look for something comfortable. Play on their comfort champs maybe. Put Dockler on Trundle perhaps.
Yeah.
You don't have to fear the Gnar if you're on Trundle, right?
Yeah.
And then, play the 1-4, play aggressively, let Juice give his motivational speech.
Can I float an idea? Which is, you were saying earlier today, you've watched their games and you think that Sin are doing proactive plays 20 to 25 minutes, and then throwing the game 30 minutes. That's kind of what we've seen. They get a lead early, try a proactive play, and then end up throwing. Is there a play they can go earlier? Is there a go button they can hit or a comp they can get that allows them to hit a trigger at 18 minutes, 16 minutes that allows them to push early and take those leads early and then, win the game from there?
You know what? Just tanks.
Tanks?
Get a lot of tanks. Where's the Alistar? just go in, flash and pulverize, right?
The man behind Chen Chuan recommends Alistar. What a surprise here. What a surprise.
You also need to use the Moobel cow.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the best skin.
I know Ejim's a huge fan of skins, and that is one of the best in the game is Mooka
They should have bet
Alistar.
that skin, hey?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, they did.
No,
They
don't
did.
bet that skin.
No.
No,
Okay,
that skin.
fine.
I would not be able to play without that skin. That's not a bettable skin.
All right, well, Chiefs are currently up 2-0 in this best of 5 series. Before we get into the third game, Sirianne has a message about Star Guardians.
Thanks, Hingers. Right, OCE want you to design your very own Star Guardian. Whether it's Sona, Trundle, Misfortune, or Nami, this is a chance for you to reimagine your favourite character in whatever medium you choose. Art, sculpture, fanfiction, or cosplay, it is entirely up to you. For information on how you can enter and what prizes are up for grabs, make sure you head on over to boards.oce.leagueoflegends.com before September 17th. Before we jump into game number 3, we're going to take a look at some highlights from game number 2.
Dead. Ray's in trouble.
He's dead as well.
He's going to get locked down. Does have flash, but he's not even going to use it.
He did.
Spear's ripped out. He thought he could outplay it. Double kill bottom lane.
Yeah, counter
Ultimate.
push once again. Swiper. Oh!
Swiffer flashes forward. Knockoff from Dokla. And the Lady of the Snakes are dead. Here comes Rima. Shurima shuffling in.
Quinn.
But look at Quinny. Ray's with the triple. He wants the quadra. Gets it. Penta kill picked up for Ray.
He actually kills himself. He stands underneath the turret, but he's out of his chair. Quinn is absolutely popping off.
Ultimate for Raze, not up yet, but the Polymorph locks down Dokla. They're still trying to re-engage. Rogue with the shield. Petrifying Gaze only slows down Sid, but that's going to be go time for Baron, and Sin just watch helplessly as it falls.
Unrelenting pressure from the Chiefs.
Dokla jumps in, pops his gargoyle, spooks and
Here
troll.
goes FBI.
Big cataclysm coming out from Dokla. He will fall for that one though. Petrifying Gaze locks down both carries. Ryma's in trouble. Rogue's jumping to his side. Juice is gonna fall down. The Nah backwards. The Emperor of Shurima has been taken down, and the Chiefs storm onto the Rifts. 3 kills picked up against Sid. They're going for the Nexus.
That
second Nexus turret is gonna fall down, and with that, the Chiefs 2 games in a row. They come back from early game deficit. They take it to Sid, and they are now at match point.